Good evening. I'm Sunny Goldberg, and it's my pleasure to be sitting here with my partner, Lee Stringer. Welcome to Conversations with Sunny and Lee. And tonight we have some terrific guests that are going to chat with us before a super program that's going to be in the library in the community room. Lee, do you want to introduce the ladies?
Yes, I would. In fact, it'd be my distinct pleasure to introduce Mary Lane Cobb, Dr.
Mary Lane. We're calling her tonight, Mary Lane in here.
Tonight she's Dr. Mary Lane. She's a soprano, and as a soprano, she is Mary Lane Cobb. Right.
That's right. Yeah.
So we've been confused on this issue for some time now. And she's a friend of mine. I count her among my friends. We met last year when we worked together in the AXO program. And
Can you tell what AXO is?
AXO is, well, I'll let the doctor.
Okay, good.
The doctor tell that, because I think she's the coordinator for the Westchester chapter. And Yvonne Jones, who is becoming a new friend, a historian who provides most of the historical truth that will be in tonight's program.
But more importantly, a retired school teacher for how many years?
For 30 years.
Wow.
So how was
And
that?
Taught for 30 years?
I
or you-
taught for 30 years, and then I went to Westchester Community for another 4.
Wow.
Where did you teach for the first 30?
Elmsford.
Elmsford. Oh, wow. Well, you get a big thank you. Teachers
you.
don't often get those, but...
Well, I have some beautiful stories.
Oh, good. How wonderful. And we just kind of wanted to chat with you before you do your
Right.
event this evening and kind of get to know you so that the people in Mamaroneck and Larchmont would get a sense of how'd you meet? How'd you get to this program that you're doing this evening, which is about the history of slavery in the lower Hudson Valley?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So either one of you jump right in and tell us about how did you get to this?
Well, Mrs. Jones and I have known each other for a long time. I've lived in the community of Tarrytown for a long time.
So you're a Westchester person.
Yes, I am. I was asked by the Warner Library if I could somehow help them to design a program about slavery for Black History Month about 3 years ago.
And the Warner Library
Is on Broadway in Tarrytown.
That's it.
Old, beautiful library. I warned them that I'd be very happy to try to get something together if they would let me sing.
That was the deal.
And the songs are songs from that time?
Well, they are spirituals.
Oh, wonderful.
Yes, they are so-called Negro spirituals.
Would it be fair to say they're more evocative than definitive?
That's right, exactly. Yes, that's a good way of putting it. They will serve as background to this history. And I called on Mrs. Jones because this is where she is and has been as long as I've known her.
Mrs. Jones is in Tarrytown too? I mean, Yvonne, you live?
I live in Elmsford.
Elmsford. Okay, so that's where you're
That's
teaching in
right.
Elmsford.
That's
Okay.
right.
And so you got to her and said, let's put this together?
Yes.
And you wrote a script.
Right. And
And
looked up some poetry.
I was going to ask
Oh,
how
okay.
the poetry
Oh,
came
they-
in and what are some of the poets you refer to, you use as a source?
Well, we have Langston Hughes and always James Weldon Johnson.
Yes.
We have Paul Laurence Dunbar. We have Tolson. We have Georgia. Can't think of her last name now, but she's one of those. And we just sort of scatter them through because to just read history can get to be kind of boring. So I think what we've done is put something together that makes history kind of
Come
interesting.
alive.
Gives a little
Yeah,
context.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, you know, I'm sort of anxious to say this because when I was putting this thing together for the board, the Friends of the Mamaroneck Library,
Which Lee is on the
I'm a
board.
new member,
Right.
and I mentioned it to my mother. I said perhaps some of her friends would like to come, and she said, "Slavery? Who wants to, hear about that? We want to forget about that." And that struck a note with me because, in fact, in my current book I'm working on, one of the first impressions I remember as a kid was slavery as presented in the history books. and those Currier and Ive drawings, one of which I think
Yeah.
is on the poster,
Yeah.
which depicts slaves, African people, almost in a brutish kind of bestial way. And so my only reference to myself, because history is how we understand ourselves, had this whole element of shame. And so this program, history is not made to have nuance. It doesn't catch nuance. So I look forward to this program for the reason that other people, I hope some young people come to know.
I hope so too.
Will get not such a shameful fix on themselves.
Well, I don't believe that this is a period of our history that should be forgotten. It should never be forgotten. It happened, and we were so important in the evolution of this country that what we did during those years could not have been done by a weak people. We were a strong people, and we were stronger as a result of what we went through, and I think people should recognize that. Also, the spirituals played such an important part. I think it would have been very difficult for our people to survive if their ability to make music had somehow been taken away from them. And when we went through a period of time when people were ashamed of the spirituals, that was pretty bad. And I'm glad to know that there is some appreciation of them returning.
Right.
Well, that again gets to be the mind control that they had during slavery. I mean, we were just taught to feel we were taught that we were inferior, and there were, fortunately, some of the ancestors just wouldn't let us live that way, wouldn't let us believe that way, so that the dignity just had to come. Carter G. Woodson is where I pull a lot of mine. I first got really introduced to Black history. He's the father of Black history. And he's written a lot of books. Of course, he's been dead. He's responsible for Black History Week, which is now Black History Month. But the Association for the Study of African American Life and History is alive and well, and will continue to be as one of the 3 Black organizations still in very active existence in this country.
Speaking of which, you mentioned your parents not letting you fall prey to that second citizen concept. Was that your case? Was there something particularly?
Oh, very definitely. I came from a family that believed in education, that believed in family, that believed in almost like the storytellers of old, of just going through the whole list of letting you know who your relatives were, who your ancestors were, and why you were here, and of course that you always had to be better than those who were trying to put you down. And my mother's favorite thing is, don't worry about it, because you live so that they will need you before you need them.
And the same for you, Dr.
Yes, I come from a long line of educators. And there was never any question that I was going to be educated and that I was going to achieve. I mean, it was just something that we were going to do, which sort of leads me to ACT-SO, which you spoke of.
Oh, good. Yes, I want you to tell
And
us.
you want to know
because
what it
everybody
means?
uses letters and
That's right, and it's very difficult to hear letters and not know what they mean. This is an NAACP-sponsored program called Afro-Academic, Cultural, Technologic, and Scientific Olympics. ACT-SO.
Oh, ACT.
ACT-SO.
Now you know why I didn't
Yes.
take a bite out of that. Still, after a year, I still want to have that
Oh,
down.
Olympics of the mind.
Olympics of the
Wow.
mind.
Yes,
And
yes.
and was this started in Tarrytown?
No, no.
it's just a-
ACT-SO is a national program that was really the brainchild of Vernon Jarrett, who was a journalist for the Chicago Tribune.
Yeah, he's done a
Along
lot
with
of
the-
a lot of other things.
Along with the then president of the NAACP,
Benjamin Hooks.
Benjamin Hooks.
Yeah.
The
And so it's
historians
all
say
over.
so.
We need her here.
But it's been active in Westchester County almost as long as it has been nationally. This program is 23 years old now. And it provides an opportunity for high school students of African heritage to achieve in the areas of the sciences, the humanities, the visual arts, and the performing arts. We have a competition every spring. And anyone who wins first prize in the local competition gets an all-expense-paid trip to national.
Great.
That's
And national
right.
is in Washington?
Well, it changes from year to
different.
year. This coming year, it's going to be in New Orleans, Louisiana.
I'm going to enter. I love New Orleans.
I do too.
Now, the question that I have for you is, if somebody were interested in learning more about it, or since this is the holiday time and it's a nice time to think about giving, is there some address, telephone number, or place where one might learn? Because it sounds like a terrific.
Yes. Well, they could call either Mrs. Jones or call me. You want us to give the telephone
Well,
number?
what we'll do is we'll put it under, but sure.
Fine.
Let
All
us
right.
know
They
what
can-
that is.
They can phone us, or they can talk to their guidance counselors, because we have
Good.
tried very hard to inform and to involve.
So if you're a parent out
the
there,
guidance counselors.
Go, and certainly Andrea Yiser, and we've got some wonderful counselors in Mamaroneck High School. She happened to be my daughter Lily's counselor. And the Yisers are a family forever in Mamaroneck. And I know she must know about it, but if you're a parent out there and you know that you have a child who is excelling and has a chance here, I think it's a great opportunity.
I would like to add too, from what I've seen of it, what most impresses me is, I mean, there are a lot of programs of various natures thrown at African American kids, and to create this or that outcome. The thing that I really finally got and enjoy about this program is what it does for the kids who are already interested in science, maybe in math, but have nothing around them supports that this is a legitimate and a good, worthwhile thing to do. That this tells them they're not alone, that we will celebrate that aspect of
That's
you,
neat.
because we can do everything, and why not
That's right.
celebrate that?
Right. I have one question that kind of came to my mind. I don't think you can ever know where you're going unless you know where you've been. So I am a big history person.
Okay.
And I was wondering if anybody either, I don't know, has some family member who was obviously a slave, but had given references to a parent, a grandparent that they may have written down and passed on to you personally. Was there something?
Oral history.
Yeah, oral history that hooked
I
you.
have a picture of 5 generations in my family, and the youngest one was my grandmother in that picture. She's a baby in that picture.
So there
I've
was somebody
I've
in that picture
gotten 5 that, and I know, well, we know that side of the family definitely had
Were slaves.
slaves. And it's possible that 2 or 3 in that picture were slaves, because I've already charted the birth dates. And if they weren't, then they were just there at the emancipation. One woman may have been free. I'm not sure.
And how about you, Dr. Mary?
Well, we've sort of traced my family back to slavery. We know the one woman who was involved with the plantation owner, and from which union came one of my
Are you
ancestors.
a member of the Thomas Jefferson? Are you going to tell us that?
There are lots of Thomas Jefferson,
right. And how about you, Lee?
Well, no, I can't claim Thomas Jefferson in my heritage.
Oh, I was.
But I can't claim it. I can't actually disclaim it because, unfortunately, or whatever, that hadn't been a particular priority to trace back in my family. And so I don't know.
Yeah. It just amazes me what we see. Steven Spielberg's recent was the slave ship. Oh,
Amistad.
Amistad. I mean, you sat there like this, and it was an amazing thing, and it made you cry, and it made you were emotionally responsive. Are those things pretty accurate? Did they have
yes.
history? Yeah.
Oh, yes. See, there's an African American museum in Detroit, Michigan that is absolutely beautiful. It's, as far as I know, it's the largest in the country. You start in that door, and there are two life-size models of the galley of the slave ship, filled with children, and because children was the biggest import,
Yeah,
and people
yeah.
don't generally understand that. But they also have posted a name of every slave ship that ever sailed on the
Wow.
Atlantic Ocean, which I think is just fascinating. But the whole museum is just beautiful. I would urge anyone.
And that is?
In Detroit,
In
Michigan.
Detroit, Michigan.
And do you know the name?
Offhand, no.
There aren't that many in Detroit, Michigan.
No,
though,
I
right?
just know all you have to do is say, "Where's the African American Museum?" and you'll
Okay.
get there.
When you get there. We don't have that much time. We have a few more minutes, and I wanted to let you guys have a little rest before you went into the community room. Is there anything that you might want to share to a student out there or a person who felt, oh, I have something I'd love to tell these ladies, or I might want to pass on, or my grandma told my grandma's mother told, anything, where would you direct somebody to go to do with that kind of information? Is there, for example, Steven Spielberg has the Holocaust situation where he sits down and he videos people. Is there
Schomburg.
somebody, I mean, these ladies have been kind enough to let us video, and you'll see this on LMC-TV tonight, but I'm talking about any place to go for
I
that.
think you
The
said
Schomburg,
the
yes,
Schomburg-
that's a wonderful
That's
library.
about the
yeah.
best going locally is the Schomburg collection in Harlem,
And
at the Harlem Public Library.
and do you have any students who are interested in helping you with this kind of documentation or follow-up? Is there?
it's an excellent idea. No one has identified himself or herself to me.
Well,
For
if that happens,
Mrs.
No,
Jones.
and
we're
you
just
guys,
we're just revitalizing the
Good.
branch of the Association for the Study of African American Life and History, and several people have expressed an interest. So I think that we'll get this show on the
well,
road.
I don't know about
very shortly.
Tarrytown, and I don't know about Elmsford, but I know about Mamaroneck. We would welcome you to sit down and talk with us, and you could bring somebody here.
And also, I'd like to, if there is young people out there who are interested in science, writing, math, and want to, test their skills against other people and be celebrated for their work.
That's right.
You can contact the AXO program.
Absolutely. I
And
hope they will.
AXO,
is there a number?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to get that for you. You want to say it? You
Yeah,
can have-
sure.
go ahead.
6311317. That's my number.
You
right
can, if
there.
it's writing in particular, you want to call me, you can call me, 381-6195.
Hey.
Okay.
All right, and we have the studio here, and if you forget this and you want to replay it or whatever, it's 381-2002 or 698-6808. We are sitting in the studios of LMC-TV, Larchmont Mamaroneck Community Television, which is an access studio that brings people together. We have 3 communities, and it's the one place that we all can join together. I feel very fortunate to have met Lee. I just was wondering how you guys met very quickly before we end, because this author here is a very busy man now,
Yes,
you know.
well, I met him through his book. Through,
okay.
Through the,
I met him through his book, Grand Central, okay,
right,
Grand Central Station.
on the
Grand
street.
Central Winter.
Oh, Grand
Right.
Central
Central
Winter,
Winter.
excuse
And
me.
I called him. I just was bold enough to call him and see if he would help us with that. So
And I
And he said
emailed him. didn't I? I actually said to him, my daughter just had a fit. I'm a lady from the hood. And she said, no way, Mom, you can't do that. I didn't know how I was going to get this guy to answer. I said, if you want your mom to see you, would you consider sitting down and having an interview with me? Because I was trying to appeal to him somehow. I didn't know what he was terrific.
sure.
Well, it was a great interview.
Yeah.
You're a great listener, which is the key to a good interview, I think. And you're interested, so it went very well.
Good. So
Yes.
we want to thank you very much, Yvonne
Thank you.
Jones.
Yes.
And Dr. Mary Lade.
Thank you.
And
Thank
of
you
course,
for
Lee and I,
having
we're
us.
going to try to do this again, have a conversation. Welcome to Mamaroneck and Larchmont. Please come back.
Thank
And we
you.
so look forward to your program this evening, and that is entitled
Slavery in the Lower Hudson Valley in Prose, Poetry, Song.
Okay, now you have it. And thank you again for joining us. I'm Sunny Goldberg.
I'm Lee Stringer.
We'll see you again next time.
Bye.
Bye.